Traditional risk management assumes a return to normal, building rigid structures for isolated crises. But confronted by overlapping, unpredictable disruptions, those rigid structures shatter entirely. Disruption is no longer a temporary state that we can wait out. It is the permanent medium in which modern governance and enterprise systems must operate. Here is the contrast. On the left, fortress thinking assumes stability, relying on sequential recovery. But building thicker walls creates massive structural liability. Systems must instead adopt active stabilization on the right, an architecture continuously engineered to absorb nonlinear shocks while keeping core functions online. True resilience requires abandoning the hope of outlasting a single storm, and instead designing an architecture built to thrive within permanent turbulence. This proactive governance architecture is called Aquarian Systematic Resilience, or ASR. It is a blueprint for continuous operation, replacing the reactive firefighting manuals of the past. Under this doctrine, the modern leader is redefined. You are the architect of continuity. Every operational choice runs through a single core filter. Does this decision preserve governability tomorrow? To achieve this, you must secure the system's most vital asset, decision clarity. Decision clarity is the ultimate non-renewable resource in a crisis. If the ability to make clear, actionable choices degrades, the physical infrastructure surrounding it becomes useless, and the entire system collapses. Therefore, defending physical assets is secondary. The primary directive of any resilient organization is securing the continuous, unbroken flow of authority. This diagram outlines the strategic triad of resilience. The ASR architecture relies on three foundational pillars: command, continuity, and control. We begin with command. Traditional centralization contains a fatal flaw. Vertical command structures create a single point of failure. If the leadership node is disrupted or isolated, the entire system freezes in place, waiting for orders that cannot arrive. This graphic demonstrates the ASR solution, the mesh. It discards rigid vertical hierarchy for a peer-based network of semi-autonomous nodes. They operate via commander's intent, pre-programmed with explicit objectives. If central command is severed, they act without waiting for instructions. The operational result is a zero-latency response. The system is engineered to function entirely autonomously for a minimum of 72 hours. In a total communications blackout, pre-authorized autonomy is the only mechanism that prevents systemic paralysis. The second pillar of the triad is control. In a total system shock, the immediate instinct is to defend all assets at once. Attempting to defend everything guarantees total failure. ASR requires a strategy of node defense. This begins long before a crisis strikes, with the critical task of identifying your pivot domino. This chart defines the pivot domino, the single node with 100% density. It's the one asset whose loss makes recovery mathematically impossible. To protect it, ASR employs safe failure mode. Peripheral systems intentionally drop offline, instantly redirecting protective resources to shield the core. True control isn't maintaining the whole perimeter. It is the disciplined willingness to sacrifice the limb to save the body. We now address the most fragile element of any system, the human operator. No technical safeguard survives a compromised human. Elite capture, coercion, and fear degrade system execution far faster than any kinetic strike or cyber threat ever could. This diagram illustrates the concept of human integrity density. ASR shifts integrity from a soft human resources concept into a hard technical specification, treating it with the same engineering rigor as network bandwidth or tensile strength. This graphic details the 72 integrity audit. We audit for ethical bone density, the proven ability to resist external leverage when state oversight is absent. Operators who pass earn the designation of Sentinel, granting them the Tier 1 status necessary for autonomous command. This graphic explains what the Sentinel is empowered to do: execute sovereign overrides. They are granted pre-authorized autonomy to bypass bureaucracy. When standard rules fail, the overarching intent overrides the rule. A decentralized network is structurally impossible to maintain without first mathematically auditing the ethical density of the nodes running it. Let's test this architecture against a concrete reality. Imagine a critical desalination plant that suddenly suffers a total communications and command severance. This timeline charts the stakes. We have entered the 72-hour blackout window. In this window, survival depends entirely on operational time, not on the application of force. This maps the response. In Phase 1, the Sentinel air-gaps the SCADA system to prevent cyber intrusions. Moving to Phase 2, they revert to manual analog controls and tap offline fuel. Finally, in Phase 3, the node autonomously rations water to hospitals for 72 hours. The facility survives not because a central command center intervened to save it, but because ASR Doctrine embedded sovereignty directly into the local node beforehand. In an era of permanent instability, systems that wait for orders from a centralized authority are systems that will die waiting. This final slide reinforces the ultimate metric of resilience: time. Securing that 72-hour window prevents total systemic collapse. By combining audited human integrity with pre-authorized intent, we build an architecture that remains unbreakable under extreme stress. True sovereignty isn't maintaining a perfect, rigid fortress. It is the guaranteed ability to govern the dark.